Hey everybody, it's Mark, and today we are going sightseeing. There's my sister and her boyfriend and Rosie, their dog, and this guy over here driving is going to be my very famous nephew, Jeremiah Fox, who is a director slash actor slash team player who is being our chauffeur for right now because we are brave people. But we're going to Bridal Cave today. I seen it coming from Springfield and I want to go to it. So that's where we're going. So stay tuned to see this cave. It's called Bridal Cave because at one point some people got married there. It's supposed to be a pretty cool cave. It's open like all year long. On our way to Bridal Cave still, but we had to stop by the Lake of the Ozarks. And so we're going to cross the dam coming up. Because I've never been here. Wow, that's a pretty huge lake. I should have Jeremiah phone. It's a busy place during the summertime. During the wintertime, it's pretty dead.
No, I don't think we can get this far, no. I don't think we went over the dam either.
Yeah, Rosie, you get it.
Still confused on where we're going, but we'll get there.
Here we are coming to Bridal Cave, which is right on a lake of the Ozark. Scenic over route. Bridal Cave and Thunder Mountain Park.
We're slow through here, Jeremiah. Slow her down.
I'll give you $100 if you do 100.
Okay.
I'd slow it down.
It's a roller coaster, Mom.
Yeah, I know.
We're
That's why I
safe.
said slow it down.
We're safe. Don't worry about it.
More parking. We go
More
straight.
parking left.
Go straight.
Go straight.
Yeah. And park right.
Overflow parking inside. Driving around. Where's that?
Go west and park.
So here we are. Going to there. And it's on the lake. And everybody's in a hurry to go inside except for me. I bet those houses are expensive. I hit the mother load. Ah! I missed all the tours. And the smashing, breaking Benjamin, REO Speedwagon. Barner! Missed them all.
Mark, there's something up there. Do you hear it?
What's that?
Do you hear it? There's something up there. It's the wood, so it's probably some animal.
I don't hear it.
Heard it
We
in
gotta
the
go
leaves.
down there.
Yeah, it's unlocked, but we're not allowed in there yet.
You gotta go in that hole right there.
Is this working?
Jeremiah.
The coin
You see that hole over there?
It's the original entrance prior to 1948. The countryside.
Birds out there fishing. That's where I should be, out there fishing.
That's the actual entrance. That's the actual entrance.
It wasn't anything too extreme for anybody, so they only had 2 guides. So
You're a tour guide today?
I am, in fact.
Alright.
Yep.
So you're gonna make it all exciting?
Yeah, absolutely.
Alright, you gonna tell stories?
I'm gonna try my best to. And then my name's Aisha, so I
Are the-
apologize. I should have had to introduce myself.
Are they gonna be truthful stories or exaggerated stories?
I want to say it's gonna depend on how believable I can make myself out to be. then I do believe that there is another tour that should be leaving in just a little bit. If not, we might run into them. But either way, he's running a little bit late. Normally, the tour guide that does come out, he takes your photo, so.
And have your attention, please. The next cavern tour through world-famous Bridal Cave is now ready to begin. Folks holding tickets for the Pink Tour, please proceed downstairs to the cave entrance, where Aisha, your tour guide, is waiting. The Pink Tour is now ready to begin.
The Pink Tour, I was told it was the Gilligan's Island tour, the 3-hour tour where we get lost.
Darn it, you just missed it. Alrighty, there you are. Alrighty. Then you folks can follow me on outside here.
No smoking without the guide?
Yeah, just right for that light formation, just so that way nobody goes missing there.
Are there bats in here?
Not too many. Sometimes we'll have little brown bats, but for the most part, they don't show up all too often. And then we can get started.
Thank you. What is it? The ground's about 60, 65.
It's nice and warm in here.
Exactly.
That's cool. Imagine being back in the day, this would have been a place to camp really even, except you would have a fire, a torch, or something. Yeah, this probably would have been.
I was lost without you.
Yeah, all kinds of wildlife you would have to fight.
Alrighty. And you may want to kind of squeeze it right in here.
Watch your step.
So, in here. And then let me more light so that way it isn't too terribly dark. Just as I said before, my name's Aisha, so I'll be your tour guide for today. You have a little bit of a difficult name, so I understand if it's a bit hard to pronounce. And then welcome in to basically our second room. This is what we like to call our chapel room. So most of the time we do host weddings in here. And then
Are you proposing?
not quite. I mean, if you do have somebody single that is 21, I'm more than welcome to hear it. For the most part, we do have just only a couple of rules. Luckily, it's nothing too terribly long. Pretty much, just try your best not to touch too many things. In case you see me touch anything, you're more than welcome to. But the reason why I ask that you try your best not to is just because we as humans have salts and oils that we have in our hands. So if you touch one all too many times, then it does start to get a little bit of a disadvantage for these formations, so they can no longer grow. If you touch this one, you'll notice that it's completely dry, and it's actually going to be a lot more of a different color compared to basically that formation that's still growing. This one's a little bit darker here.
So this is not growing anymore?
So in case you do want to touch that one, you're more than welcome to.
Yeah, it still took a roll.
There you go.
It's neat, isn't it?
Did you say touch it or take it?
You might have a hard time taking it, but you can touch it all you want.
I got Jeremiah with me. He can pick it up. He's hot.
But for the most part, we actually called that the altar back in the day, so it's back in the day. It is almost being used as an altar for weddings. So probably the first weddings that have occurred in this cave was probably about Native Americans, but we don't know that for a complete fact because nothing's completely written down. And then two, in case you do happen to see any rocks down on the ground, little tiny pebbles, as great of a story as it would be to take it home with you, probably don't take it home with you because we are federally protected. So that's going to be a $16,000 fee. Yeah, I think that you'll want to be spending that much today. But in case you do, go ahead and visit our gift shop.
Will you take a check?
Sure. And then that about wraps up anything. Of course, in case you do happen to have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. Know that that might make it sound like I'm saying that sarcastically. I promise I'm not.
Any famous people get married here?
Nobody that I have heard of. But just recently I found out that there was an actual traditional, like Indian wedding, and she had all her jewelry and everything. I never got the chance to see it, but it was really neat to kind of see. So I want to say that that was a few years back.
Right.
But really, we've only had 3 other weddings that have happened here recently. On the 20th, I think that it's going to be the last of this one this year. So that will be 4,264 by the 20th. So,
Wow.
and
That's how
then,
many weddings this year?
Mhm.
Wow.
well, not exactly this year, but within basically since we opened.
Since it's opened, okay.
Yeah. The first wedding started right around 1949, so it was a couple over from Joplin's, and their names were Mr. and Mrs. Cole, so they got married right in front of here. Normally folks like to stand right about where you're at, but they like to stand here because right over here you actually got a little bit of damage, and that's because of the Native Americans maybe back in the day. They would have taken that plug and almost swung it to let out a thunderous noise that you could hear from about half a mile away. So, yeah, that's where you like to get the name Thunder Mountain Park. So Mr. and Mrs. Cole, they kind of started a whole tradition there. It stood right about there, and they had 140 guests in this room. Normally it does get pretty tight whenever we have about 25. That's the maximum that we allow for tours. And then 50 for guests nowadays, so I'm going to give everybody's get crammed in. Otherwise, you need to just add in even more people.
Yeah.
And pretty much that wraps up everything.
How far does this cave go back?
It is about 3/4 of a mile. So coming back up these steps, it's going to be about half a mile. And then the trail up top is about half a mile. So in case you want to do a full mile, then
Cool.
think about a road.
Wow. That's
And
pretty
then
big
there
then.
may or may not be a tour coming up here too, so you may want to clear the way. You may not want to go down where I'm at just yet. I'm going to double check on them, but whenever they come on up, then we've got the green light to head on downstairs.
Oh, okay, so wait here.
That's a big place.
Hey, are you coming on up?
It is, but that, almost a mile, did you say?
Alright.
Yeah.
I will lie and say that we're free to head on up here.
Imagine going in here back in the day with just some.
Oh, with some flashlights or torches, yeah. That'd been
See
cool.
anything in here? Please, things will get.
Did I tell you I was claustrophobic?
I don't wanna crawl back in some of these holes.
Hello.
Hi, how you doing?
Doing alright, how are you?
You waiting on me?
Oh, no, you're alright.
Good. I'm slow.
That's alright.
Yeah, those stairs aren't exactly the most fun to get up and down.
No.
You guys didn't tell me there was a weight limit. I mean, a girth limit.
You can take pictures and send them to my phone.
Alright, well, you guys enjoy the rest of the tour.
Thank you.
You guys have a great rest of your day. Thank you. Thank you.
Who's the rich person throwing dollar bills in there?
Yeah,
Water here, I didn't see that.
that one is actually our wishing well, so that's just man-made. Nothing really goes to us.
Oh, it's man-made?
However, it does connect.
There's dollar
I'll be
bills
sure
in
to
it.
Yeah.
kind of talk about it, but there's actually another cave just right outside. And that one's called Bridal Cave, so it actually does connect somehow to this area. But recently we did clean out our wishing well, so in the past we've had about $4,000 that was in that.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, so normally we donate all that money to our local high school students, so nothing goes to us, but it goes to Camp Weare, the details to Eldon and Lebanon, so definitely helps them out. And then we've had a few campgrounds that it's definitely helped out too, so for them we've been able to get that scholarship.
Here, you want to lose? I didn't penny.
No, you gotta get off the 20.
Yeah.
There's dollar bills in there. You could do a 20.
I've seen a couple of euros from there too.
Couple euros.
Yeah,
Cool.
so definitely there's been an advantage to South people here. And welcome into our drape light room too.
Oh, this is beautiful right here.
Technically, it does start at the very top of these stairs. So you might have been able to see that started to come on down.
How many feet are we underground?
You
What's
are
the point?
about, I would say a little bit less than 185 feet down below ground. So at the very back of the cave, that one's about 200 feet. This one, you're a little bit higher to ground level. That's mostly because we do have some rain droplets that'll come down here. And then that one, it normally takes about 3 to 5 days for it to come down to us. So they like to specify and call those cave kisses. So this area, really not too far from ground level.
Yeah.
And then anything further down, it takes about 7 to 10 years for a rain droplet to come down to you.
Really?
So yeah, that's the part where you get really low. Mostly everything's kind of straightforward, and then afterwards you get out.
Man, they got the fence in Colorado. It smells like sulfur underground.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
I can see that. A lot of people like to say that our cave kind of smells like things.
Like Katie says, what Jeremiah was saying, it smells like copper.
Yeah.
There's no copper running or something.
For the most part, I want to say that the minerals in here. Like copper. So since we are a wet access, we do have like that smell.
Yeah.
And have you ever been to Colorado Springs before by any chance?
Yes, I have.
Gotcha. So you might be familiar with Garden of the Gods in that case.
The
That one, it's kind of,
mountains, yeah.
yeah, it's right in there. So this room is what we like to call our Garden of the Gods.
Yeah.
If you look around, it's not going to look anything like it. But they just call it that because it's one of our most decorated rooms. And pretty much right in behind you, you actually get to see a lot more of that drapery wall. So again, it's going to go to the very end of it, and it'll be always by your right side unless you're turning around. But pretty much a lot of people really like to have this one as their favorite room. But there are just a couple of really neat formations that are kind of my personal favorite in this room. Right over here, if you look really closely,
Oh, yeah.
they've got this one. They like to call her our guardian angel formation.
Yeah.
And if you look close, she does have a little bit of a wing, but now she also has a bit of a tail, so she's definitely seen better days. But we like to call her our cave bacon mermaid, and that's our fun little nickname for her. In case you're familiar with cave drapery, some people do like to call it bacon as well. But back in the day, they used to almost use her as a great way of knowing about where you were in the cave, and essentially used her as knowing, hey, you're going to be protected in this cave as you're exploring, so she's going to be a little bit of our protection for today as well. And then a couple of other neat formations here. If you look down, we've got some little tiny glowing stalagmites. I know that they're kind of harder to see because they are just so small. But this one's a little bit taller than the other one. But these two, they've been here since 1952. And how we know that is because we have all this concrete here. We brought it all in with 2.5-gallon buckets and wheelbarrows, so it took a process of 7 days a week for 6 months, and the average pay was 75 cents an hour. So these two are the direct outcome of it. In case you stand here, you're definitely going to get jerked on. But pretty much if we didn't have this back in 1948, you would have been standing right over on that cave floor. So right about on this area, you might be about 25 feet down below it. So pretty much for the most part in the beginning of tours, we were pretty late compared to a pretty low spot right around here to view.
I love this rock.
Cozy would
Oh, that one?
Yeah,
yeah.
exploring.
That one,
One of those.
technically a lot of people like to think that it might be a column because it almost looks like a stalactite and a stalagmite might have been together.
Right?
But if you look up, somewhere up there is actually a stalactite. So it's actually still a stalagmite and it's just stacking and stacking on top of each other.
Several times this rock.
And then you may want to be careful, you may want to stick over on this side, it will get a little bit low. But the only reason why I say that is because we do have this little ladder right over here, so you may well want to trip over it.
What's the ladder for?
Well, I haven't been here for the past week or so, but I would imagine that they probably just had it just for electricity purposes.
How did they get it in here?
Pretty much the regular way. They just carried it.
I'll take that for a long ride.
Yeah, it's a tight pit for a long ladder.
I know. Eric, our maintenance guy, he's definitely got our piece of work cut out for himself, so sometimes he'll appear out of nowhere on my tours, and he always kind of scares me a little bit, but we always love him. He's pretty awesome. So I want to say that he might have had some new lights installed recently, because as I'm passing by, I've been noticing that a little bit of areas are a lot brighter than what I've seen before.
Right.
So in that case, I appreciate it. And welcome into our frozen Niagara room. And if you look right in front of you, you of course get to see this in big old nice white formation. And actually before 1990, this would have been the end of the tour. If you look right about on your left side, you might be able to see this little tunnel right around here. That's the way that we're going to go into in order to get further into the cave. But back before 1990, that wasn't so very convenient to get through. Because right about here, you would have had a wall to cut you off, and then you would have to just turn around.
So this would have been it before 1990.
Pretty much, yeah.
Wow.
Not very exciting. Luckily, in the 60s, though, we did send a group right up here.
And you heard of this thing called dynamite and you made a bigger wall.
Not quite. But they did take a ladder, kind of like that one right in behind us. So back in the 60s, they climbed up here, and then they did that hop, skip, and a jump. So this already existed. So this is a lot more of the drapery wall. And then they used that board to get across. But they did use some explosives to actually excavate this little tunnel right over here. So as we're going in through that tunnel, it does get pretty low. Of course, watch your heads as you're getting through there too.
So I'm gonna get stuck. Did I tell you before I was claustrophobic?
Oh, well, have fun with that. Luckily, it's not going to get too terribly tight.
That's what the ladder's for, to push me out.
And then you may want to watch your footing. Some areas are going to get a little bit slippery. They do have a few windows, though. So it's going to have a lot more of these little tiny stalagmites and stalactites along the way. So they're pretty neat to look at. And then there's actually that middle one. That one tends to be passed by a lot.
Oh, that is pretty cool. You can go get me one of those. I'll take it home.
Fair enough. And then coming up is actually the last window that they've got.
All those dead animal bones.
No.
We're in the movie called Descent.
Actually completely hollow. So the older that stalactites get, the thicker that they get on the outside, till eventually they look like those big old stalactites just up above you.
I still like the theory we're in the movie Descent, and those are animal bones. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
So that's about 30 feet up, in case you were to happen to drop down and fall from climbing up that height. You're probably not going to come out walking. And then over in this corner, if you look right around where I'm standing, you actually get what we like to call our cave dinosaur. And then just up top is what we like to call our cave monster too.
That looks more like the Washington monuments to me.
Fair enough.
They didn't drill that, did they?
No,
Is this where-
that is.
Don't touch that. $16,000. Let me have it right now.
Is this where it's grown over the line or what?
That one, actually, they had a little bit of red clay, and they just kind of took a stapler, and they just
Oh,
covered it over.
I
So
see.
nothing really had to be drilled there.
Yeah, because it would take years and years and years and years for it to actually grow over the line. Right?
Right. So we kind of cheated in that case.
Did y'all get a lot of clay in here? The reason why I asked, there was a cave back home I used to go in, and we used to go get clay all the time.
Oh yeah, we've got tons and tons of red clay here.
Right.
So you may want to watch where you put your fingers in that case, because it is going to stain you on some areas. Right down here, there's actually quite a bit too. Not really down this tunnel, but any further down into the cave, it definitely is.
I remember that movie. What?
And you may want to stick over on your left side, since it is going to get a little bit slippery down here. And then this is actually your lowest point, so definitely watch your head there.
Very down here. Rock it and everything now, but not to get it. That was a long, long cave in that movie.
There ain't no lights in there. Oh, now there is. Okay, where's the light switch?
This area does get a little bit darker.
No, I'm saying that you turned on the light for back there.
What was that?
You turned on the light for that room back there?
Yep.
Where's the light switch?
I've got my handy dandy remote, so it's
Oh.
not quite a light switch.
Oh, okay, so there's not actual light switches.
I should have had line and just said, you start clapping and then turn it on.
That's all digital, electronic, and
I don't know exactly about how caves like Marvel do it, but I feel like they might have their own switch too. And right over here, we actually like to call this room our parlor room. You may or may not have noticed it, but there's actually a ladder right over on your left side whenever we come back here.
right.
Pretty narrow, as you can tell, but that ladder was actually the only way in order to get in and out of these three rooms. And in case you're feeling pretty bold and saying that you could get back this far without any electricity, highly doubt that you would want to get back this far if I told you to use that ladder.
Yeah.
But this is why we like to call it our parlor room. Back in the day, after using that, you definitely wanted to take a break. So this is the area where you would have had a little bit of lunch and then journaled about what you were experiencing.
So can I have a soda straw?
And right over here for you. I guess I didn't hear you. What was that?
He just harasses people all the time.
There's a bunch of soda straws up there that look like those dead bones again.
A little bit. There's actually some that do kind of look pretty similar to it.
Yeah.
Right over here. Back in the day, they actually used some of these almost as substitute pencils.
As what?
Almost as substitute pencils.
Oh, okay.
So they would chop one of these off and then carve into it with this red clay so you might be able to testify that red clay does harden. So they would kind of mark right about here with those soda straws.
Right.
And then right down here, because we do have a few broken ones, kind of like what you say, looks like dead animals there.
Right.
But for them, they actually also use them almost as a way to break off and then kind of make their mark as to where they were going. So almost used it like a trail of breadcrumbs.
Got ya.
And then this is my personal favorite area of the cave, so it's a little bit more richer in history. If you happen to look up as you're going up this tunnel, you might be able to notice that there's a few kind of etchings of names and dates up there. Right around here, you're not going to be able to see it, but as we're coming down here, you definitely will be able to. Again, definitely watch your head. Trust me, I've bumped my head far too many times over on this section.
Got a marker, you can get lost in here. That's how people got lost and died in places like this. Without knowing how to get back up. But you need the light when you're going in, you'd be blessed.
We haven't had any documents of anybody going missing here, but I feel like there's surely been some stories of something.
It's thousands of years, somebody's got lost in here.
Well, yeah, that's why you see all those bones around. They're still surviving.
You know?
You ever
know
watch that movie Descent?
I have not, but I've heard a lot of people recommend it to me.
You need to watch that movie. It's really
I
cool.
should. Honestly, a few days ago, I made a mistake. I had a field trip come in, and they, of course, asked me the question of had anybody ever died in this cave, and we don't have any documents of anybody doing that. And I jokingly told them 2.5, and for the rest of the tour, they would yell at other tours and say, 2.5 people died here.
Now, this is pretty cool right here.
And then welcome into our big room, which is kind of ironic. It's fairly smaller compared to the other rooms that we saw. But right around here, if you look up, that's how you can tell that you're getting a lot lower down underground. So right around now, you're basically about 200 feet down below ground. Definitely in the very back room, you will most definitely be right around that. And for that, if you happen to look right in front of you, you get to see your white column. That one you like to nickname as our bride or maybe our wedding cake column. And we call it that just because it is pure white. The reason why it's white is because this mineral right over here, that's what we like to call calcite. So the way that I like to remember it is it almost looks like milk, like somebody maybe took a cup of milk and then splashed it all over a cave wall. Almost has that effect. And then, in case you do happen to look right around here, you get to see a stalactite, so again, very tight to that ceiling. And then stalagmite, again, might reach that ceiling. At one point it was a column, so just like this one right over here. And back in the day, because you didn't have any electricity, you couldn't really see all too far right around here. So they managed to mess this up, and then it is split in half. But if you look really closely, it does have some soda straws hanging off of it, so it is trying to regrow back there. And then if you look down, there's actually a lot of this red clay, so that's why it's going to take a while for it to regrow back. And coming down here too, just definitely duck your head. This area does get a little bit narrow, so you may want to be aware of that. A couple of people have. They are pretty steep though, so you may want to hold on to that railing as you're going on up.
I know what that looks like. But I can't say it because of my YouTube channel. Trying to keep it rated G here, folks.
Oh, that's beautiful. Yeah, that is. Drops.
And that's really 25 feet down, but all that water is in fact 25 feet deep. It may not look like it, but it's pretty deep, I would say.
So there's no life in that.
Nope. So no fish, no algae. Pretty much all of it is completely secluded, so it's not even going to connect from the lake outside.
Wow.
The only thing that's really in there is just, if you look over in that corner, a couple of boards of wood, and then that ladder. So back around 1981, some scuba divers came down, and they estimated it to be about 80 to 90 years old. And they can assume that that might have been the way to get further into the cave. But definitely is not that mobile, as you can tell, so they figured it was a lost cause and then dropped it down into that lake. But they were able to find the very end of the cave, but there is no exit to it, so that's where you turn around right around to it.
No exit, yeah, the other way.
At least the way you know it, but pretty much everything has been surveyed in our cave, and then only 12 people have been to the very back of the cave, believe it or not. So that's like about an additional half mile or so. But it does connect, perhaps, I'm not going to say for certain, but we want to say that it does connect to the other two caves that are pretty close to this area. So you might have noticed a really smaller one just outside as we were